Have you ever wondered if Jesus truly had a personal relationship with God? Was his connection with God just because he was divine, or was it something deeper, something that made him so special? Was it a bond built on trust, love, and closeness? If we look closely at the way Jesus prayed and taught, we find a relationship with God that was far more intimate and beautiful than we might have imagined. In Christianity, Jesus is seen as both fully God and fully human. And in Islam, Jesus, or Isa, is revered as one of the greatest prophets who lived by God's will. But no matter how we understand Jesus, one thing is clear. His relationship with God wasn't just about being the Son of God. It was about something real, something personal. So, what does that mean for us? What can we learn from the way Jesus prayed and taught that shows us the depth of his relationship with God? Let's start with prayer. Jesus prayed often, especially in moments of great emotion. One of the most powerful moments happens in the Garden of Gethsemane, just before his arrest. Jesus, feeling the weight of what was to come, prays, "Not my will, but yours be done." Luke 22:42. Why would the Son of God pray like this? Why would he surrender his will to God? This prayer shows us the depth of his trust. Even in the hardest moment of his life, Jesus wasn't afraid to show his human side, his emotions, his fears, his hope. He trusted God with everything, even when the road was painful and uncertain. And in Islam, we see a similar submission from Jesus. In Surah Al-Imran, Jesus is described as one who submits to God's will. Whether in Christianity or Islam, we see that Jesus' relationship with God was built on trust and surrender. But it doesn't stop there. Jesus teaches us about how God wants to be close to us. In the Lord's Prayer, he says, "Our Father," Matthew 6, verse 9. Notice how he calls God his Father. This isn't a distant formal title. This is an intimate, loving relationship. Jesus is showing us that God isn't just a powerful figure far away. God is a Father who wants to be close to us, who loves us, and who is always ready to listen. In Islam, Allah is also described as Al-Qarib, the near one. Both religions emphasize that God is not distant, but wants to be near to us, like a parent who deeply cares for their child. So, why did Jesus call God Father, and what does it mean for us? Calling God our Father means we're invited into a personal relationship with him. It means we can trust him as a child trusts their parent. We're not alone in our struggles or our joy. God is always there, ready to listen and guide us. Jesus shows us that prayer isn't just about asking for things. It's about connecting with God, sharing our hearts, and trusting in his love. Whether we're in pain or in peace, God is always there, listening. Now, here's something incredible to think about. Even though Jesus was divine, he didn't do everything on his own. In John 5:19, he says, "The Son can do nothing by himself. He can do only what he sees his Father doing." Jesus, in his humility, relied on God for everything. He didn't act alone. This isn't just a lesson about Jesus, it's a lesson for all of us. If Jesus, the Son of God, needed God's guidance and help, how much more do we? This shows that no matter how strong or capable we think we are, we all need God's help. In Islam, Jesus is also shown as a prophet who completely relies on God, seeking his help for everything. So what does this all mean for us today? Jesus' life shows us that the relationship he had with God wasn't just about miracles or his divine purpose. It was about deep connection, trust, and surrender. He taught us that we can have that same closeness with God, that we can talk to God like a child talks to their parent. No matter what we go through in life, whether we're struggling or celebrating, we can always turn to God. Just like Jesus did, we can pray, we can ask, we can trust. We're invited to build a relationship with God that's based on love, trust, and hope. So how can we begin? It starts with prayer. It starts with knowing that God is close, that he listens, and that he loves us. Whether through quiet moments of prayer or through trusting God in our daily life, we can begin to open our hearts to that same deep connection with God that Jesus had. In the end, Jesus' relationship with God shows us the way. It shows us that God is a loving Father, always there for us, no matter what. And just like Jesus, we can have that close, personal relationship with him. Jesus' trust in God gives us hope that no matter what we face in life, we're never alone. We can always turn to God, and he will be there, ready to listen and guide us. But in the silent moments, When the tears won't stop and the weight of the world feels too much to carry, remember this: Jesus knows that pain. He felt every heartbreak, every tear, every moment of despair, and yet he still chose to love us, even in our brokenness. When you feel abandoned, when your heart feels shattered, know that you're not forgotten. God sees you, He hears you, and He loves you more than words can express. Don't let the pain define you. Let His love heal you. If you need hope, if you need comfort, subscribe now and know you're never truly alone.